I couldn't have a presentation about collaboration without, I don't have to point, I can do that, can't I? So, collaboration, Run DMC, Aerosmith, probably better than the sum of its parts. If you heard the original Aerosmith, not as good as that version, with the collaboration. Then we got this. What a beautiful bridges. I like bridges anyway, but what a beautiful bridge. A collaboration between Norman Foster, architect, and I don't know how to pronounce this, he's French. Michel Veuillot? I don't know. But he's a structural engineer. And so you end up with these fantastic, slim, beautiful bridge, as tall as the Eiffel Tower, spanning over this valley in France. Absolutely amazing. Right. I've drawn the real short straw, haven't I? So I'm on before coffee, late in the day, everyone's tired. I'm doing a presentation that you've just seen, because, so I'm going to do it again. So it's hard. So I'm just going to tell you stories. I'm just going to talk to you. So, do any of you know Richard Stallman? Linux, Unix guy, great big beard, ponytail, evangelical about the GNU. You know, GNU's not Unix. So, late 1990s, I went to see him at Sheffield University. So, he flew over from America in his robes, and he had a hard disc platter on his head. He was Ignatius, absolute madman. And he's just flown in. And he's at the front, like me, and they give him one of these things with a pack and everything. And the first thing he says to the audience is, right, guys, I've just flown in and I'm really, really hungry. Can anyone help me? So the crowd throws him a packet of biscuits. So he goes, oh, packet of biscuits. And he goes off and he goes behind the stage like this. And he's eating these biscuits behind the stage with his microphone on. We've got 2-meter-high speakers, 1,000 people in the auditorium, and we've got 2-meter-high biscuit-eating noises coming and being played at us at the beginning of the presentation. I'll never forget it. So, if I'm talking too loud, if I'm talking too fast, let me know, because I'll talk quieter and slower. Yeah? Okay. Why am I here? I'm here to talk to you about the problems that we in Call Credit have had opening up the office in Kaunas, 100 people in the office, collaboration on Agile projects. It's tricky, it's hard. So I'm just going to talk a bit about personal commitment to collaborate. I'm going to talk about the business commitment to Agile. I'm going to talk about the distributed teams and how they're made up. And then the bulk of the presentation is how we at Call Credit have approached the problem and how we've tried to solve it. And we basically solved it in 3 ways. You can see how nervous I am. Look, I can't keep that still. People, technologies, and tools. But there's no more Aerosmith or Run DMC. Right, I reckon Agile is hard. It's hard at the best of times. It seems natural when we talk about it in conferences. Oh yeah, what you do, you sprint and you iterate and you talk to your customers and you find it all up. It's tricky, isn't it? I think it's about people. And it's about people and their commitment to collaboration, their commitment to talking to each other, their commitment not to go off on their own. That's what I think it's about. There's lots and lots of ceremonies, aren't there? There's ceremonies in Agile. You've got your sprint time box planning, you've got your task sizing, you've got your stand-ups, you've got your retros. We've heard all about those today. But they're all about people. And they're all about people talking to each other to get things done and make things better, make better software, get it out sooner, get less defects. So something I'm going to talk about a bit later is this here. At the beginning, a team contract or working agreement. How do the teams themselves want to work? How are they going to solve these problems? And what we do in Call Credit is ask the teams at the beginning of projects, how are you going to commit? How are you going to solve these problems? So, the business commitment to Agile. We know when our business is committed to Agile, because we've seen 100 of these slides today. There's whiteboards everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's whiteboards, there's sticky notes on the windows, there's sticky notes on the whiteboards, there's sticky notes on the wall, they're everywhere. Team spaces with names on. Team Awesome, we've got Team Epic. Yeah, that's where Team Awesome are, that's where Team Epic are. But all the examples I found are all in a single location. What do you do when you're preparing for one of these? You go to Google, don't you? Google search. What did I search for? Agile, stand-up images. If any of you want to talk about Formula One and the Grand Prix, that's the other thing I was looking at that day too. So talk to me afterwards about that. I'm not allowed to. So you can be a Lego man. You can be a cartoon man. You can be a wavy in your arm man. But they're all in one place. None of these images are about distributed teams. And I think Chuck said exactly the same. We seem to be doing stuff that's not been invented before. We seem to be doing stuff that is different to the normal way of working. But I reckon teams have been collaborating across the planet to produce software for ages. I checked it out. 1995, 1st of December 1995, Apache 1.0 was released. Apache 1.0 wasn't developed by 10 developers sitting in a team space in a room. That was developed by tens, probably hundreds of developers all around the world. So how's that different from our Agile projects? How's that different from the projects that we run? Well, as you know, in the open source world, it tends to be very developer-led. Requirements come out of developers, and they go through project management committees. The committees allow access to the source code. There's voting on features. It's more of an organic entity. I'm going to have a glass of drink of water. 2 meter high water drinking noises now, you watch. Very organic entity. Our projects aren't like that, are they? We've got project managers. We've got customers that you can point at. They've got requirements. They've got customers. They've got shareholders. They want things done in a certain way, in a certain place, delivered at a certain time. Apache probably won't like that, really. So, tiny bit of background about Core Credit. We've got people in 4 physical locations. 3 of them in the UK, 1 of them here in Kaunas. We've got 2 partners that we deal with, 1 in the UK and 1 in Poland. So, I hear you all say, go on, say it, but why don't you just have co-located teams? Why don't you have your teams all in one place? Get rid of this hard problem of distributed Agile, distributed teams. It would be good. It would be handy. But all of our internal customers, all of our product owners are all in an office in Leeds. They're all in one place. So if we've made the decision to expand our operation and come to somewhere like Kaunas, we only, at the moment, serve British customers with a British service. So we've only got product owners in that one place. So straight away, you haven't got your business in the same place as your team if you choose to only locate in Kaunas. Also, we don't have all of the skills in every location. That's gradually changing. We've got devs, we've got test, we've got project managers over there. We haven't got any BA. Oh, we've got 1 BA, I think. But we're gradually building up those skills. So we can't have a team consisting of all the skills you need to build an effective Agile team because we haven't got them located here. And we're building that up. But even if we have 1, 2, 3 project managers, we're running 12, 15 different projects all at once. And so we're finding it very difficult to co-locate our teams. So, This slide's about people. And what we ask of our people, that everyone commits to collaborate. They know they can't build the system on their own. So individually, you make that commitment to collaborate with everyone on your team. And we ask the team, how are you going to work? What's important to you? Oh, am I going to blind you if I accidentally poke you with the laser? We ask the team, how do you want to work? What's important to you to deliver this project? So what teams come up with are working agreements. Now, you're not going to believe me, right? And I'm telling you this is true. I'm going to turn this slide over, and you're going to see another slide. Vitautas knows this is true, because the original of this was in a document that I just pulled off our SharePoint site. And I'd have to send the document and get the link right, and have a link embedded here. So in the end, I popped it in the presentation. I have not changed any of these words. So this working agreement was done on a project by the team probably a year ago. So I just want to read through a few of these lines. So what the team want to do, they want to follow an agreed stand-up etiquette. Be prepared, be concise. Everyone is silent. Only give actions and blockers. Discussion is left for triage. Respect location. Now, there's a few good things in there. Chuck said this. His stand-ups have grown from 15 minutes to half an hour. We've done exactly the same, but we call that extra 15 minutes triage. So the guys do their stand-up, but then they know they've got that time slot booked for the next 15 minutes to have those conversations, to triage the problems. More etiquette. Meetings will start and finish on time. They've got to have an agenda. Only get the relevant people along. What's worse than going to a video conferencing room where you're the only person and you're sitting in a meeting and you're not needed? It's soul destroying. Only invite the relevant people who've got something to say, who've got something to input. This is why this is good. Collaborate. Collaborative discussions. Face-to-face is best. We all know that. Chuck knows that. Intermedics know that. Core Credit know that. If you can get everyone face-to-face, then that is best. We do things a bit different. Well, this team certainly does. Don't discuss via email. Group email is to inform, not to discuss. We'll talk about that a bit later. Keep up morale of the team. Regular get-togethers. Chuck said exactly the same. If you can, fly everyone into Kaunas that's on a project team. The team are going to bond. You go out for beers. You go to Avalis with your big, tall tubes of dark beer. That's what you do. Get the right balance of your documentation. Visible, agreed. Discussion on stories, but document it. Document lightly what you've been discussing. We've written this down, or this team have written this down. Treat your teammates as you expect to be treated. Imagine yourself on the end of that phone call, phone conference, video conference. Make sure you remember what it's like. Achieving common understanding. Make sure you share your knowledge. Think about business, not just technical. This is agile stuff, isn't it? Eliminate blockers early, proactive, consistent planning. Team commitment to quality. Time box changeover. Do it, have it, so that it doesn't drag on for days and days. Get your retro, followed by your planning the next day. So I just wanted to show you that, because these aren't my words. These have come out of a team that are running Agile, and this is what's important to them. And during retros, they put this on the board, and they display it. Are we still committing? Are we still doing, committing and acting on this working agreement? Ding, ding, ding. So there's no technology in there. The technology changes. We know it does, don't we? But the key points, don't discuss on email, because when you start discussing on email, the threads get bigger and bigger. And then the threads seem to turn into something else, don't they? You start discussing one topic, and then someone brings in another topic, and you're discussing that. We try not to do that. Use your wiki for your documentation. Store in a central, collaborative place. And obviously, face-to-face is best. So, more stuff about people. And these are the few of the, they're not agile rituals, but these are few of the things that we in Core Credit have implemented for the people, and the people, the developers, the people working on the project have implemented themselves. So, you probably all have Scrum of Scrums. If in your stand-up you've got an issue, it needs to bubble up quickly. And people take those issues, if they're big enough, to the Scrum of Scrums. So you can see here, we've got testers, we've got developers, we've got network engineers, I've got a pointer here, haven't I? So I don't need to point. So we've got all these people pinning up issues, and then the right people are there to take them away, to try and get them resolved. Other things we do, Pizza Friday. So, we know that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Have you heard that one? Yeah. Have you heard it through the Psycho film? Yeah, that's good. So, we need our guys to have a bit of fun. So, once in a while, probably every 6 weeks, every 2 months, we have a Pizza Friday. And we actually do that local. So there's a Pizza Friday in Kaunas, and there's a Pizza Friday in Leeds. And what we do, the developers all get together, and they chuck topics for discussion up on a board. And then the team, once they've finished their pizza, decide what they're going to talk about. They've got an hour, and so it's stuff that is relevant to those developers. Or the test Pizza Friday, they discuss stuff that is relevant to the test community. We run dojos. So dojos are all about community skill sharing. So Rimas has come up with a fantastic new algorithm for matching, and he wants to let the other developers know about it. So he'll run a dojo. He'll tell you about the new techniques. He'll show you the code that he's implemented in. He'll give you examples. So it's to share those skills, usually focused on a particular topic. And then, this is the big collaboration, we have lunch breaks. And that's usually product owners, usually people maybe in the sales teams, actually getting a group of people in delivery, a group of the developers, testers together to talk about a new project that starts. Whoa! A new project that's starting, or a technology, but for information share. Is this all right? Yeah? I'm not too loud? I'm not too fast? Good. I had to get that in, feedback, and, you know. I'm agile, me. So, the technology. We've done the people, and then we'll talk about the technology. And we've said it 100 times, Chuck said it as well, face-to-face is best. So, the technology I'm talking about here, in our instance, is usually a train or a taxi to the airport, the technology of an aeroplane, landing, getting another train so that people can actually be together. It's a longer flight to Milwaukee than it is to London, but it's still the same technology. We try and get the teams together. Get them together at the start of a project. Get the team together. Buy some beers. Go to Avalis. Get together at big points. You know, if you can get some of the team together at the retrospectives, even better, rather than doing it over video conference, teleconference. Get the team together at deployments. Once you've continuously delivered, we haven't got that far yet. We cannot, at the moment, continuously deliver to live for any of our projects. So we always end up with a deployment. So that's a good opportunity to get the team together. And of course, when a project's finished, you get together to celebrate. And it should be the product owner getting their credit card out and paying for the team. That's the ritual in Core Credit, that it's the product owner who are going to be probably getting a bonus because the developers did it really well. So they're the ones that pay. Okay, we talked about it earlier in Chuck's presentation. This is the backbone of collaboration in Core Credit. We've probably, in the Kaunas office, how many stand-up rooms have we now got with us? 8, 10? So 10, there's 100 people in the Kaunas office, and we've got 10 conference rooms ranging from a 4-person conference room up to a 30-person conference room, and every one of those conference rooms has got video conferencing capability. In the Leeds office, probably the same, 10, 12 rooms. All of our stand-ups are done via video conference. We've got video conference in all locations. What we're starting to do, I like the idea of video phones, but we're a bit Microsoft, and so we at the moment are tied into using Link on the desktop for one-to-one video conferencing from your desk. A little term that we're starting to use here, we had a problem, right? So in the Leeds office, which is traditionally our base, people have known each other for years. They go for coffee with their friend. They go up to the restaurant with their friend. And they chat. They chat about the projects. They go for a cigarette with their friend, and they chat about the project. And as those friendships move around and get new jobs within the company, those relationships still are maintained. So an enterprise architect who's formulating the vision of the architecture of the Next Call Credit product will still be talking in the Leeds office to the developer that he used to work with. So there's that constant communication. And what we found is that there's a bit of a gap. In Kaunas, the guys in Kaunas haven't got that relationship with their old work colleagues because the Kaunas office is new. It's only 2 years old. So what we tried to do is have one of these boards in the Kaunas office in the middle of the floor and one of them in the Leeds office in the middle of the floor. And what we do, we have them always on, always just showing what's in the other office. And so, people walking past, you might have your cup of coffee, depending where we put it, and we're moving it around. So you've got your cup of coffee and you walk past, oh look, there's Audrius there from Kaunas, and he's got his cup of coffee. So you're going to stop, aren't you? You're going to stop and have your coffee with Audrius. And there he is, there's Audrius. See if you can pick him out in here, look. If I point there, oh look, there he is. And this is Ian. This one was faked, it's a fake photo. So it's not, but this is what we do. They're constantly on. So it's to encourage people to drop in, just to have a chat, say hello as they walk past. And we call it water cooler window. A colleague of mine, when he saw these slides, was Googling water cooler window, and he's saying, Chris, I can't find it. I can't find it anywhere. I go, no, I invented that. So it will be trending soon, won't it? Water cooler window, hashtag. Go on. So we're also starting to see virtual teams appear on people's desktops. So if a team is in Leeds, but they've got 1 or 2 people in the Kaunas office, we're starting to see always-on video of the Kaunas person at their desk with their headset on, and they feel part of the team. We're starting to see that. Of course, phones, conference calls, it's still an important part of our day-to-day life, but it's tending now to be with people outside of the core project team. As Chuck said, text-based, live communication, chat rooms, very, very good. Sometimes you don't want to talk to people, and it's just easier if you do an instant message. It's got the advantage that there's a permanent record. Those messages tend to get saved into Outlook because we use Link. And it also enables file sharing. Now, document collaboration. So I'm talking about the sort of technology here. To me, this is the most important part of working collaboratively. Document collaboration. Keeping your documents in a central location. We'll talk a bit more about that. And as I said earlier, email, yes, it has its place, but for notification. What we say, don't send a document as an attachment. Don't do it. Send a link to where the document is centrally stored and then collaboratively work on it. Don't send a link. The moment you've got, don't send an attachment. The moment you've got an attachment, you've got 2 documents that you've got to try and manage, and that's no good. We all know about source control, don't we? So we all understand that. We all know that source control is actually a centralized repository. You check it out. The system knows you've checked it out. The system understands the changes when you put it back in. I'm really, really keen on promoting the use of source control for developers and testers. I want the testers to have Visual Studio so they can build their own tests, so they can check out source code and actually see what the developers are doing. Or Zen Studio if you're PHP, or whatever others you're going to use. But what's happening now, because our source control system is good, our system administrators, our network engineers are now starting to use source control for collaboration and DevOps activities. So we're putting our network configuration in source control, so when that router explodes, when that system breaks, you pull that configuration out of source, out from a centrally managed place. Vitas has asked me to put examples, but you know all this, don't you? You know TFS, Git, so I'm not going to bother with that. What tools do you use for document collaboration? And I'm stressing this again and again. Once a document is out of your head and you finish that first draft and you want to save it, you've got to save it centrally so other people can see your thinking early. Other people can comment on your document early. And so it's transparent. You haven't just got your thinking embedded on your PC. So I've got some examples here. Are you cool if I try and illustrate this with some examples? One a bit frivolous, but one. So here, just a quickie. So you're trying to run a training course, and there's 20 slots, and you've got 100 developers, and you ask them, who wants to come on the training course? So in the old days, what we did, of course, you send out a spreadsheet, don't you? Here's a spreadsheet, here's the columns of the slots available, fill it in. And so suddenly, if you're lucky and you've got motivated staff, you get 100 spreadsheets back that you've then got to try and manage and collate. And oh no, 50 people want to go to that one slot and it's full up now, and oh, what a nightmare. So you put it on a wiki, don't you? You put it on a collaborative central site so people can go and book their own slots, and then the work's collaborated. It's Thursday today, isn't it? Yes. So at 9 o'clock tonight, UK time, I'm going to get a text, right, from my drinking buddies, my Thursday night boy drinking buddies, right? And they're going to text me, and they're going to say, Goddard Arms tonight. That's where we're going for a drink, because we go to a different place each week. Goddard Arms. But of course, text is not actually very collaborative, is it? Because Joe's going to get that text, and he's going to say, oh, hang on, I walked past the Goddards earlier today, and it's shut for, it's being painted. So he sends a text back to Steve, saying, no, we can't go to the Goddards tonight, because it's painted, it's being painted. And he hasn't got the full list, has he? So he's just sent one text back to Steve. And he says, right, but I want to go to the wheat sheaf. But Steve then thinks, oh, I hate the wheat sheaf, that's rubbish. And so, suddenly, no one knows where we're going. But it doesn't matter for me, because I'm in Avalis tonight. But my kids, they've got it right. They do this on Facebook, don't they? So they don't send one message to a single message to 10 people. They send a Facebook message, and it's one message, and they know, they can see who's read that message, and everyone can see who's coming and whether the wheat sheaf's shut. So you see where I'm getting at? Yes, Chris. So, other collaboration tools are available. We tend to use SharePoint. Don't like it at all, but we're Microsoft. I'd much prefer to use Google Docs or Wiki or something like that, but we tend to use SharePoint. So, these whiteboards are dead good. They're big, aren't they? You saw the pictures. They're big. But they've got the smart software on as well. So we can, and you're right, Chuck, it's not as good as a pen and a whiteboard, but these smart boards have got collaborative software on. And there's a pen and an eraser, and you can draw on the smart board in Leeds, and your session in Kaunas, you see it as though it had been drawn on. So those tools are becoming really, really useful. As people learn how to use them, those whiteboards are really ace. And for Vitautus, we use SmartTech 8070Ys. So we use them for the watercooler window and for the cross-site collaboration using the smart software. Do you all use planning visualization tools apart from boards on a wall? So your Post-its and everything. Does anyone use TFS, Urban Turtle, Jira? Yeah. So we tend to use TFS and are a bit frustrated with it. So we're looking to the Urban Turtles to sort of sit on top of TFS to try and make them more collaborative. Yeah. So that's an important thing. If you've got a distributed team, it's very difficult having one whiteboard. We've tried it. You try and keep it up to date. The project manager there ends up talking to someone at the other. Right, they take photos. Oh, can you make Post-its the same as those photos and put them on the board and move them in the same? It hasn't worked. We originally thought it would make people talk more, but in the end, people just get frustrated, and the second board just isn't kept up as much. So we try and use these online tools. This is my last slide, I think. Oh, no, I've got to do a summary at the end, of course. So how long have I got? Am I nearly there? 15 minutes. Oh, look. Show that to everyone. I've got 15 minutes. What am I going to say for another 15 minutes? I don't know. So I've just got some examples. If that's all right, we'll just whiz through these. And then you won't have any questions, and we can go to coffee early, yeah? So, real-life examples. It shows that call credit is learning and changing. So these examples didn't happen yesterday, but they're examples that I've seen over the past couple of years. So, a developer wants access to a database server for his development because he needs access. He's writing code, and he needs to get data from the database server. So he pops in a ticket. Please grant me access to the database server. And of course, a ticket is, and the network engineer who can give him that access thinks, well, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what machine he is, and he's only given me a name of the database server, and I don't understand those. So he closes the ticket with a comment, I need more information. So the developer opens the ticket back up again. Right, okay, my machine name, and I need this access, and he finds all the database name and etc. Puts it in. Yep. Okay, so then the network engineer goes, fine, okay, cool, I've got more information, I can do that now. But what port does he need? Because I'm not a database guy, I don't know what port he needs open, I can't give him access. So he closes the ticket with the comment, more information needed with the port. So you can see where I'm going here. Tickets open, tickets closed, ticket open, ticket closed. Eventually, that developer gets access from his dev machine to the database server, super duper. But that's in his dev environment. The integration server also needs that access. So he raises another ticket. When he's done his dev and he gets to integration, he raises nightmare. So what we tend to do now, yes, you raise your ticket, you get it in the process, but you give them a call. You do a VC. If you're lucky enough, you wander down face to face, and you have a chat with the network engineer. You collaborate. You say, come and have a look at what I'm trying to do. I'm here on this code, and I'm trying to access this data. And the moment you start engaging like that, working collaboratively, all things are possible. And in fact, in that example, the network engineer said to the developer, right, hang on, you don't just want it for this server, do you? You're going to need this on every environment between here and live, aren't you? Yes. So that's the power of collaboration, understanding what the requirements are, both sides, talking to each other. So another example, database developer this time, working on a database deployment script. So they develop on their own, they're super duper, iterative testing, fantastic. I've sorted this, I've got my script. And it works on their local environment, super duper. Even works on integration, super duper. But the moment it gets to CT, the DBA, the ops DBA, the live DBA, looks at it. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. You've missed out, you know, gaining access to the Foos valve, haven't you? So you can't do that. Yeah, it's no good. And he knocks it back. So what do? You collaborate. You get your DBA, operational DBA, on board while you're doing development. What do you need? What does good look like to you? What should I put in this deployment script so that you're happy with it? And then the DBA is on board and he wants to help more because he's involved and he understands the project. Getting advice early in the dev process. Fantastic. Collaboration. Ace. So this is the old traditional QA type approach. QA with a white coat standing at the end of the process. Developer does development, sends it to the testing environment, and the QA in his white coat raises defects. Our Mount JB talked about that earlier, didn't he? This old school days of raising defects, and he comes back into work the next day and he's got a load of defects. So, collaboration, dev and test working together. Don't deploy it. Don't say you're finished until you're both happy that there's 0 defects. It can go to the next stage where some other testing is going to take place. We've made it. The end, the summary, a 3-part presentation. And to summarize, collaboration, it's about people committing to collaborate. It's about you. It's about the developers and project managers I can see from Call Credit on the back row there. No, they didn't sit on the front row like the older Intermedics people, not on the front row for their presentation. They're all on the back row, aren't they? I didn't hear much heckling, though. It's about them. It's about them committing to collaborate. Yes, strong processes, strong methods, getting the right, I can't remember the word now, getting the right ceremonies, of course. And tools can help. Video conferencing, ace. But it's about people in the end. It's about people wanting to do it. And when people want to do it, they'll find a way to do it. So it's about hearts and minds.